Hello and welcome to Fox Sports Lab. AFL in a huge week on the coaching landscape. I'm your host, Ben Dixon. With me, AFL great Jason Dunstall and the stats guru, Al Payton. Welcome, gentlemen. Chief, I'm going straight to you. Clarko took leave from the Kangaroos last week. Within that space, Damien Hardwick on Monday said, I'm out. I've had enough. How would the club be feeling now, but especially the players going into this weekend?
It's mixed emotions for the players, isn't it? A lot of them would have basically played their entire career under him. They would find him a father figure, a mentor, a friend. So they're going to be particularly sad. There'll be those fringe players that think this is a new lease of life for me and I might get a game. But it's going to be really interesting because we see the impact often that a coach changing or leaving has on a team, Al. And I know you've got some numbers, but I guess it's different to a coach being sacked. For me, this is a coach that wasn't being pushed out the door at all. So I don't know if that's going to have an impact on the weekend at all.
We mentioned the players playing their careers under him. He's been there since 2010, and only Cochin and Rewald are the only two who've ever had another coach. So it's going to be a very different landscape for them. Talking about the caretaker numbers, if you look back over the past decade or so, it's pretty 50-50. But last year we had two who came in at North Melbourne and then Mark McVeigh at GWS, and they both won their first games. Lee Adams was at the Kangaroos, that was against Richmond. And then we should have added another one last weekend with Brett Ratton. So there is an effect there.
Often when things are going wrong and a coach is sacked, it's relief for the players. They think, the place has been malfunctioning and all of a sudden it's about to implode. The coach gets removed and you get a new lease of life, if you like. But this is a little bit different. I think there's an emotion here, an undercurrent of emotion that I don't know what effect that's going to have on the players.
And there's a big difference between, as you said, he's walked as opposed to sacked. 2004, Peter Schwab got sacked and we went away for the last 4 games to really spark ourselves and got on the piss and guess what happened?
Great.
We got done by 100 points, so it doesn't always work. Al, Tigers 1.5 game out and percentage as well of the 8. What does Andrew McQualter need to do in the short term to get them a finals berth this year?
Well, he's been there for 10 years under Dimma, so I don't think it's going to be a radically different game plan. And I mean, just a few little tiny things could have gone another way. That draw in round 1 and then last week, I think that was the last straw for Dimma. The last couple of minutes against the Bombers, that could have been the season right there. The last, 7 seconds left when they kicked the winning goal. So I don't think there'll be massive changes, but it might be interesting. A few players, like you talk about on the fringe, Noah Cumberland's one who I think Dimma, that sort of drove him nuts a little bit. They had an interesting relationship, so we'll see how he goes under McQualter. And they had a few kids in the draft a couple of years ago that we haven't really seen yet. High picks, Tom Brown was one, Sam Banks, sort of top 20, top 30 kids that I reckon we might get a look at in the run home.
He's auditioning for a coach's job, so you'd be crazy if you didn't tweak things.
No, absolutely, 100%. All right, now we're 10 rounds in, Chief.
Yep.
Where are you headed with your stock portfolio?
Interesting you bring that up, Digger, because if you remember, we made a big profit on the Saints. We sold those stocks at 3-1. They're now sitting 5th, 7-3. I'm happy that we made our profit. We took the money and ran there. The Bombers, the same thing. I mean, we sold the Bombers and Saints stocks when they were both 3-1, sitting up the top of the table. So we made a good profit. Bought some Geelong stock when they were 1-3, remember? That has been a good buy. I think it's probably going to plateau a little bit in the market. Tell you what we also did. We bought some Dockers stock at 1-3. How good is that looking at the moment? Now, what I'd like to do is invest in some Bulldog stock. I think that's going to be very good for the rest of the year. The Blues stocks have actually been taken off the market, even though I think they might have a win on the weekend. Off the market because they're just worth nothing, not the paper they're written on, Diggo. So you put the moz on them beautifully. And Richmond, well, people are saying they might be able to make the finals. Not me. Not touching them. Not with a 20-foot pole.
Okay, well, the Blues just say, I was out of bullets, so I've got nothing to invest anymore. But I remember your Bombers one. I was hanging on to that one. There was no doubt about that. All right, it's the end of a significant era at Richmond, and we wish Dimma all the best in his new endeavours.
You know it's a better betting app when you've got stats and insights for every major game and race. Plus expert opinions from the best minds in the game, all in the palm of your hand. That's better. What's gambling really costing you?